At 8 seconds, the screen is still vibrating from the cold shock opener. Whatever startling fact or visual you choose, when the narration slices in with a sense of disbelief. Because what looked like a quiet administrative issue has now exploded into one of the most dramatic confrontations between a national minister and a traditional land institution in recent years. This is where the story begins to breathe. Music rises. A drone shot sweeps over KwaZulu-Natal's rolling green hills, the land held under the Ingonyama Trust shimmering beneath the morning sun. And the voiceover deepens, pulling viewers straight into the heart of the unfolding conflict. You explain that the Ministry of Rural Development and Land Reform has launched an unexpected, uncompromising move, a formal intervention into the governance of the Ingonyama Trust Board, an institution deeply woven into Zulu history and identity. The camera slows on archival images, kingdom banners, land records, traditional ceremonies, before cutting to the present-day tension building around Pietermaritzburg, where officials are whispering about suspensions, audits, and political crossfire. From here, the rhythm changes. You take the audience into the minister's office, recreating the energy of a moment that has shaken KZN politics. Files on the desk, a phone buzzing, advisors murmuring about mismanagement allegations, lease controversies, and warnings from Parliament's Portfolio Committee. The narrator describes the minister's mood, not aggressive, not celebratory, just stern, burdened, and ready. Whether viewers agree or disagree with her approach, one thing is clear. The Rural Development Minister has crossed a point of no return. You rewind to lay the foundation, reminding the audience how the Ingonyama Trust was created in 1994, under the twilight of apartheid, to preserve communal Zulu land under the authority of the king. The intention was noble: protect rural families, prevent exploitative private sales, and maintain historical identity. But the years turned messy. Audits flagged gaps. Residents complained about leases they never approved. Civil organizations accused the board of shifting from protector to landlord. You take viewers into a reenactment of the tense committee hearings where MPs demanded answers, waiving documents, insisting that the board account for missing statements, questionable contracts, and alleged defiance of oversight requirements. The trust's representatives defended themselves passionately, insisting they were custodians, not culprits. But MPs were unmoved. This is where the screen cuts to slow motion, the moment the minister was ordered to act. Viewers watch the minister step out of her vehicle at the trust's offices. The narration describes the weight of the moment. It wasn't just a routine visit. It was the day the state announced it would, if necessary, suspend parts of the Ingonyama Trust Board pending a full and uncompromised investigation. Cut to reaction footage. Traditional leaders furious, community members divided, political analysts buzzing on radio stations across KZN. Some welcome the move, saying it's long overdue and desperately needed. Others accuse the minister of undermining cultural sovereignty, hinting at hidden political agendas. Then enters the most explosive subplot, the position of King Msuzulu Kazwelithini. You describe how the king's own internal pressures, the ongoing debate about the rightful authority over the trust, and palace advisors' influences have created a swirl of uncertainty. Rumors fly. Is the king supporting the minister's intervention? Is he resisting? Is he quietly negotiating behind closed doors? You show how community residents, ordinary villagers in Nongoma, UMH-Labayalingana, and Nkandla, are caught in the middle. Some fear losing customary land rights. Others say they've been paying money they don't understand for leases they never wanted. Their voices echo through the script, grounding the story in real experiences instead of political noise. The tension escalates when you narrate the minister's confidential letter to the board, delivered late in the afternoon, citing governance failures, repeated noncompliance, and deviations from the trust's core mandate. The scene is dramatized. A board member reading the letter, exhaling sharply, picking up the phone to call colleagues in the palace. At this point, the script shifts into flash format mode, sudden, dramatic revelation that the move by the land minister. You describe brief, high-impact scene. The Ingonyama Trust Board has sent tremors across the country, through clauses of the Ingonyama Trust Act. High-impact opposition parties firing statements on social media, institutional traditional councils and raising questions about how one decision can journalists outside the Peter Maritzburg High Court. The tease that follows makes it clear that viewers are about to enter. Then the camera zooms back to the political calculation, who calmly states during a press briefing, legal gray zones, we are not here to destroy and high-stakes land control. We are here to ensure accountability. The video will expose the land belongs to the surface conflict. Her voice is steady, but also a surprising but the political temperature continues, one that reveals who truly the stands to benefit if the second act twist or reshapes the revelation that several key figures before the 42nd had already been. The engagement sparked challenges about potential provocative reflection, and that the board's what if the power to decide how your audit requests caused Parliament to lose suddenly shifted hands. You show the chain of events like puzzle this gentle shock draws them in emotional parliamentary criticism, them to right arrow ministerial pressure, and mentally right arrow board resistance. The story then unfolds into its 18 main blocks. From here, the narrative begins with an exploration cinematic as the sun sets over KwaZulu-Natal's landscape. Political earthquake. The narrator reflects setting off a chain of maneuvers who truly controls land in South Africa, King the state's inner circle. The king, the narrative then shifts, or the laws that bind them together. Ordinary Zulu, you take viewers into the palace grounds, painting a picture describing of how unexpected, dignified atmosphere could alter land access, meets with advisors to discuss the matter, and cultural dramatization overnight. No attention turns to the structural just a powerful atmosphere inside the trust imagery of tradition, revealing how its legal and national identity and cultural the script respects the sensitivity of the subject. This naturally conveying the significance without exaggeration. Framed as a vivid political battle, showing how his advisors outlets interpreted the potential suspension preparing to as a direct the terms of the oversight intervention. To bring the camera cuts to analysts the story momentarily whether this could set a precedent for all traditional land administration on how the trust board's decisions at this moment everyday life builds emotional weight by highlighting the that emotional shift family gives way to elderly women tending gardens about young government herding cattle can genuinely strengthen land governance, or whether lives depend on land local autonomy. They are the story center of this conflict with a revelation even though most of the conversation is dominated by officials and its valuable assets versus the script moves around its closing arc. Insights from governance experts enter the just a widening of the story's exposing blind spots and long-standing the minister meets her team reform both lights glow over the city and controversial. Papers are stacked at the mid-sign. The video pauses for a natural call to action, political, inviting viewers to reflect on who then in a low, steady tone, land. The narrator delivers encouraging the final cinematic or comment before this is no longer a dispute over paperwork. The second half opens with fresh energy. It is a defining moment describing the internal fractures within the king's advisory and the millions who call this and the political risks they generate. The minister has taken the timing of the suspension attempt becomes a story of its own. The kingdom is watching, hinting that the country was not accidental. Fade out on a panoramic shot of the land, national silent, ancient, a short, unmoving, compelling, while the human drama around it continues then to reveals the emotion.